Imagine the tension right now, the constant roar in your head, the endless noise filling every second of your day, meetings, calls, the pressure to always have the answer, to always say something right now because silence feels like losing control. But what if all that noise, every rushed word, every desperate explanation is exactly what's blocking real power? The kind of power that founders, investors, and leaders crave but never quite reach because they're trapped in the tyranny of talking, reacting, performing. What if the strongest move a leader can make is to say absolutely nothing at all? It sounds radical because it's rare. The instinct is to fill every gap with words, to prove you're thinking, to prove you're leading. But in reality, that instinct is often the poison that drowns influence, suffocates connection, and kills potential before it even breathes. Think about the last time a team meeting got derailed because someone talked over everyone else, or when a decision was rushed because silence was mistaken for indecision. The problem isn't just noise. It's not knowing the immeasurable value locked inside a simple pause. Mastering silence isn't about being quiet. It's about using stillness as a form of presence so powerful it reshapes your entire environment. When a founder holds back from speaking, when an investor chooses to listen more deeply instead of instantly reacting, they cut through layers of superficial chatter and surface-level thinking. That's where clarity lives. That's where true insight waits patiently for those willing to embrace stillness. Leaders fear silence because they believe it signals weakness. But the truth is, silence is courage manifest. It's a reclaiming of control in a world addicted to noise. It's a refusal to scatter energy on futile words and instead concentrate power into a laser-focused moment. In that moment, you shift the balance of power. You invite others not to pretend they understand, but to truly absorb, reflect, and bring their rawest, most profound selves to the table. Here's the brutal truth. Your teams, your investors, your partners are drowning in endless talk that goes nowhere. Everyone's so scared of dead air that conversations lose meaning, decisions become tired rituals, innovation shrivels under the weight of over-explanation. You feel it too, the exhaustion of having to constantly speak just to maintain your place at the table. But what if by refusing to fill the silence, you actually give others the space to step up, to own their ideas, and to reveal depths nobody expected? What if silence becomes the weapon that reveals true leaders hiding behind the noise? This isn't just philosophy, it's science and strategy. When people are forced into silence, their brains tap into a different mode of thinking. Creativity blossoms because there's room to breathe. Reflection deepens because there's no distraction. Empathy grows because silence cracks open space for genuine listening. The leader who commands silence commands attention and respect because they demonstrate they don't need to shout to be heard. Their power is evident in what they don't say, because those quiet moments explode with possibility. But silence isn't easy. It's terrifying. It shakes the very foundation of how you're used to leading and managing. It asks you to be patient, to trust the unknown, to surrender the desperate urge to control everything verbally. It asks you to embrace uncertainty and let complexity unfold rather than bulldozing through it with quick fixes. And that makes it a rare superpower because few are willing to risk the vulnerability that comes with stepping back and letting others fill the gaps. Think about the founders who dared to embrace silence. The ones who, in their moments of doubt, chose thoughtful pauses over frantic answers and found their teams rising to meet the challenge without needing to be micromanaged. The investors who didn't rush to judgment, but sat quietly through presentations, letting entrepreneurs really explain, and by doing so, uncovered insights and opportunities others missed. Leaders who use silence to frame their messages perfectly, letting words land hard because they follow the meaningful silences that give them gravity. Silence isn't surrender. It's the ultimate assertion of sovereignty over your power. It tells the room, I'm here. I'm strong enough not to prove myself. I'm listening, thinking, waiting. That kind of presence dismantles fear and insecurity in others because authentic strength is magnetic. Instead of noise breeding noise, you create a culture that values reflection, critique, and true transformation. You forge a team that isn't just compliant but fiercely connected, where ideas are tested not with reaction but with meaning. To wield silence effectively, your first step is ruthless self-awareness. Notice how often words spill out, not because they need to, but because of discomfort with the quiet. Catch the impulse to fill every gap just to avoid appearing weak or uninformed. Then train yourself to pause, not a quick hesitation, but a deliberate, powerful pause that reshapes conversations. Watch how it flips dynamics. Notice who steps forward, who retreats, and how the energy charges differently. Next, practice listening like it's your secret weapon. Listening isn't waiting for your turn to speak. It's absorbing without judgment. It's holding space for all the tension, doubt, and hope in the room while remaining centered. This kind of listening transforms interactions from performances into real exchanges of power and potential. It's what moves leaders beyond reactors and responders into true architects of change. Silence also means resisting the temptation to explain everything or cover every angle. When leaders over-explain, they convert clarity into confusion and decisiveness into paralysis. Instead, learning to trust silence means trusting your team's intelligence, trusting their ability to grapple with complexity, and trusting the process of co-creation that emerges not from saturation, but from sparseness. The rarest leaders don't just own what they say, they own what they don't say. They understand that silence can be louder than words, and that withholding speech at the right moment is one of the most disruptive and powerful leadership moves you can make. This is how quiet influence spreads, not through dominance, but by creating crackling space for the rare genius inside everyone to emerge. If this feels dangerous, it is. It means breaking free from the systems that reward noise and conformity and risk everything on uncertainty and individual sovereignty. It means refusing to play by rules that demand constant noise and never allow for sacred reflection. It demands patience to play the long game, knowing silence builds momentum you can't create by shouting. This is the edge of leadership, not the comfort zones of endless talking or the illusion of control through constant messaging, but the raw, untamed territory where silence becomes your sharpest tool. Here, you don't just lead, you liberate. You dismantle illusions of power that rely on fear and confusion, and rebuild a new world of leadership rooted in presence, depth, and unstoppable essence. So when the next moment of pressure hits, and every instinct screams to fill the silence, resist it instead. Hold the space. Let the tension burn a little longer. Watch how the room shifts. Watch how your power grows, not because you filled the air with noise, but because you mastered the art of silence. Because in that quiet, you become the leader who doesn't just change the game, but rewrites the rules entirely.